Nicole Kidman filed for divorce from her husband of 19 years.
Even in Hollywood, some stories seem perfect, like they belong on silver screens, not the tabloids. But behind every spotlight, every glittering red carpet, lies a truth often too raw for the public eye. When Nicole Kidman filed for divorce from Keith Urban in 2025, the world gasped. The fairy tale was over, but the reality that followed was far more complicated, more heartbreaking, and more human than anyone could have imagined. Keith took the stage, guitar in hand, delivering performances that seemed to bleed his pain for the world to witness. Nicole, in contrast, faced the storm quietly, her grace and composure a silent statement stronger than any public outburst. This wasn't just a divorce, it was a collision of love, fame, sacrifice, and private battles that no flash of the camera could ever fully capture. To understand why their story unfolded this way, we need to go back to the very beginning. Nicole Mary Kidman was born in Honolulu, Hawaii, in 1967, to Australian parents living abroad. Her father, a psychologist and biochemist, instilled intellect and discipline. Her mother, a nurse and educator, nurtured creativity. Moving back to Sydney shaped her young mind, but Nicole was far from the confident Hollywood star she would become. Shyness defined her early years. In school, public speaking was terrifying. Teachers recalled her turning red, frozen by attention. Yet, in her imagination, Nicole was free. Ballet, drama classes, and community theater became safe spaces where she could channel feelings she could never voice. By her teenage years, her talent was undeniable. At 16, she starred in BMX Bandits, her expressive eyes and porcelain skin catching the gaze of Hollywood scouts. Fame arrived quickly, but it was bittersweet. The girl who once trembled in classrooms now faced the world's largest stages, balancing ambition with vulnerability. And this vulnerability would shape not just her career, but her choices in love and life. Nicole's first major love story unfolded under the spotlight of global fame. In 1990, she married Tom Cruise, one of Hollywood's brightest stars. They were young, beautiful, and seemingly unstoppable. The tabloids adored them. But behind the glamour, reality had a darker edge. Tom's devotion to Scientology, combined with Hollywood pressures, cast shadows over their marriage. Following their divorce in 2001, Nicole's adopted children lived primarily with Tom, leaving her with a silent ache she rarely discussed. The loss of family stability and the heartbreak of separation left scars that lingered. Scars that would influence every relationship that followed. Her marriage to Tom taught Nicole a lesson she never forgot. Love, even when perfect in public, could be complicated, painful, and deeply personal. Keith Lionel Urban's story was very different. Born in Whangarei, New Zealand in 1967, he moved to Australia at a young age. Music was his escape and identity. His father's love of country music rubbed off early, and by 6, Keith was already learning guitar. Life was not easy. Family struggles and financial instability created early pressures, and music became both therapy and ambition. He toured local venues, played talent shows, and poured everything into his passion, leaving school behind. By 1999, his self-titled American debut album turned him into a country music heartthrob. But fame brought demons, alcohol, pressure, and fear that his life could unravel at any moment. By the time he met Nicole, Keith had already battled addiction and personal chaos, a man searching for balance in a world demanding too much. And when he met Nicole, two wounded souls collided in a way neither had expected. Their meeting felt almost serendipitous. It was January 2005 at the Jade USA Gala in Los Angeles, an event honoring Australians who had made a mark in America. Nicole arrived poised, elegant, and radiating the quiet confidence of someone who had conquered both Hollywood and personal adversity. Keith, rising star of country music, carried himself with charm and subtle reserve, a man whose public victories masked private battles with addiction and self-doubt. At first glance, their introduction seemed casual, almost forgettable, but beneath the surface, it planted the seed of a connection that neither would forget. Months passed with no contact, a pause that almost made the potential romance feel like a missed opportunity. When Keith finally reached out, however, the spark was undeniable. Nicole, still carrying the emotional scars of her marriage to Tom Cruise, found in Keith someone refreshingly raw, passionate, and emotionally authentic, qualities that cut through her carefully constructed armor. For Keith, Nicole represented stability, elegance, and the home he had always longed for, but never fully known. By the end of 2005, their relationship had begun to take shape in public glimpses and subtle appearances. Fans and insiders alike sensed something extraordinary was unfolding, a bond forged from shared wounds, complementary strengths, and a mutual yearning for redemption and connection. It was the beginning of a story that would soon captivate millions, a tale of love found, tested, and forever intertwined with fame, struggle, and resilience. June 25, 2006. Sydney's Manly Peninsula, under a sky brushed with soft sunlight and the gentle sound of waves, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban exchanged vows in a ceremony that seemed lifted straight from a storybook. Nicole, radiant in a flowing Balenciaga gown, walked down the aisle with a veil that trailed like a whisper, holding back tears as the weight of the moment settled on her. Keith, long-haired and charismatic, added a personal touch to the reception by serenading her on guitar, each note a testament to both love and promise. Among the witnesses were Hollywood royalty, country music stars, and close family, each a silent observer to the joining of two lives that had already weathered their share of storms. For fans, this was the ultimate fairy tale. Two souls marked by previous heartbreaks, discovering redemption and renewal in each other. Nicole, who had endured the emotional toll of her first marriage, seemed to have found stability. Keith, emerging from struggles with addiction, appeared anchored by love. The world saw perfection, but reality, as it often does, waited just beyond the camera's lens. Just 4 months later, Keith checked into rehab to confront ongoing alcohol issues, a sobering reminder that even the brightest fairy tales can face shadows. The first crack had appeared, subtle but undeniable, signaling that love, as magical as it might feel, must still navigate the complexities of human struggle. Keith's voluntary rehab stay was a stark and undeniable reality check, a moment that exposed the fragility beneath the golden image the world had come to admire. Publicly, Nicole appeared composed, elegant, and resilient, moving through interviews and events with a poise that suggested unwavering strength. Privately, however, she carried the weight of multiple roles: caretaker, protector, anchor, and bore the emotional labor of holding their lives together while Keith confronted his demons. This dynamic, Keith needing to be saved, Nicole striving to heal not only him, but also the wounds of her own past, established a pattern that would quietly shape their marriage for years. Fans saw unity and devotion, applauding every public display of love. Insiders, however, recognized the subtle strain beneath the surface, the compromises, the unspoken resentments, and the delicate balance required to maintain harmony between two strong but different personalities. Nicole's unwavering desire for stability often collided with Keith's restless spontaneity. She sought order, predictability, and structure. He sought freedom, self-expression, and the unchained rhythm of the road. Their differences, once complementary, gradually created tension that no award show smile or red carpet embrace could fully conceal. Even amidst moments of public perfection, the seeds of conflict were quietly taking root. foreshadowing challenges that would later come to define the next chapter of their story. Over the next decade, Nicole and Keith built a life marked by remarkable accomplishments and public admiration. Nicole captivated audiences with unforgettable performances in films like Australia and Rabbit Hole, earning critical acclaim and industry accolades. Keith, meanwhile, dominated the country music scene, selling out arenas and collecting Grammy Awards, his songs reaching millions worldwide. Outwardly, they appeared unstoppable, a Hollywood and Nashville power couple, admired for both their talent and apparent harmony. Yet behind closed doors, the pressures of fame, constant travel, and parenthood quietly tested the foundation of their relationship. The reality of managing two high-profile careers while raising a family began to reveal itself in subtle ways. Missed dinners, conflicting schedules, and moments of unspoken frustration. The arrival of their daughters, Sunday Rose in 2008 and Faith Margaret in 2010, brought immense joy, but also new challenges. Nicole threw herself into motherhood with fierce dedication, seeking stability, structure, and normalcy for the children. Keith, accustomed to the freedom of life on tour, sometimes struggled to adapt to the demands of domesticity. Their love was genuine, yet differences in temperament, priorities, and coping styles quietly emerged. Private disagreements, small resentments, and the constant balancing act of ambition and family life slowly began to erode the intimacy that had once drawn them together, revealing that even the strongest partnerships can face quiet, relentless strain. By the mid-2010s, whispers that had long circulated began to grow louder, impossible to ignore. Tabloids speculated endlessly. Clashing schedules, late nights on tour, quiet tensions over parenting, and the inevitable strain of balancing two high-profile careers. Paparazzi photos captured moments that seemed innocuous: a missing hand on the red carpet, a solo arrival at an event. But to insiders, they were small indicators of a growing distance. Publicly, Nicole and Keith maintained the flawless image of the golden couple. Every interview, every award show, every carefully posed photograph reinforced a narrative of strength and unity. "We've never been stronger," Nicole would calmly declare. Keith would echo her sentiments, often with tears in his eyes. For fans, the story remained one of enduring love and mutual devotion. Yet behind closed doors, the cracks were subtle but undeniable. Friends noticed that Nicole's once effortless smiles began to feel rehearsed, carefully calibrated for the cameras. Keith's public declarations of love, though heartfelt, sometimes carried the cadence of lines practiced and perfected. The pressures of fame, family, and personal differences simmered quietly beneath the surface, creating tension that no red carpet could mask. Every smile, every public gesture was a performance, a testament to a love that was increasingly difficult to sustain, and a reminder that even the brightest partnerships can struggle when private realities diverge from public expectation. In September 2025, Nicole Kidman filed for divorce in Davidson County, Tennessee, bringing to a close nearly 2 decades of marriage. The paperwork was brief and clinical, citing irreconcilable differences. Yet behind those few words lay the weight of years of love, sacrifice, compromise, and quiet struggle. The decision had not been sudden. Nicole and Keith had been living apart for months, their lives gradually diverging until the end became inevitable. For Nicole, the choice was both painful and empowering. Once the steadfast anchor of their relationship, she made the difficult decision to prioritize her own well-being over sustaining a cycle that had left her emotionally drained. She sought primary custody of their daughters, Sunday Rose and Faith Margaret, ensuring stability and consistency for them amid the upheaval. Keith's demanding touring schedule naturally limited his day-to-day involvement, yet both approached the separation with pragmatism, waiving spousal and child support, an unspoken acknowledgement of respect and shared understanding. Even in heartbreak, Public reaction was immediate and intense. Fans who had revered them as Hollywood and Nashville's golden couple were stunned. Tabloids splashed headlines of heartbreak and scandal, yet the truth was more nuanced. This was not a story of betrayal or anger, but of two people acknowledging that love, no matter how deep, sometimes cannot withstand the pressures of life, fame, and human complexity. Behind the glitz and public adoration, the reality of their marriage had quietly unraveled. And now, the world was witnessing the final chapter. Days after the filing, Keith appeared on stage without his wedding ring. The absence was unmistakable, a silent signal before the music even began. Each performance became a confession. Altered lyrics, omitted songs, and carefully curated set lists told a story no interview could capture. Fans watched, debated, and speculated. Was it catharsis, anger, or heartbreak? Every chord struck, every word sung, carried the weight of private pain broadcast for the world to witness. In that raw vulnerability, Keith's music became more than entertainment. It became a mirror to his grief, a public diary of love lost. Nicole, in contrast, chose silence and composure. Her public appearances radiated elegance, poise, and quiet strength. She moved through the world deliberately, channeling her energy into protecting her daughters, safeguarding their stability, and maintaining a sense of normalcy amid the storm. Where Keith's heartbreak was audible and immediate, Nicole's was visual, understated, and profoundly human. A story told through a glance, a gesture, a carefully measured pause. The stark difference in their coping styles revealed the emotional complexity of their lives. One expressed pain outwardly, turning anguish into art. The other navigated it inwardly, finding dignity in resilience. Together, these opposing responses painted a portrait not just of a marriage ending, but of love, loss, and the multifaceted ways humans bear the weight of both. Their marriage was a tapestry of triumphs and trials, of breathtaking love and quiet, persistent struggle. Nicole's unwavering quest for stability met Keith's restless need for freedom. Two souls drawn together by passion, yet pulled apart by the realities of human imperfection. Their love was profound, genuine, and transformative. But even the deepest bonds can be tested by contradictions that quietly grow heavier over time. This story isn't merely about divorce or the end of a marriage. It is about humanity itself. It is about two people striving to heal each other while carrying the invisible scars of their pasts. It is about the delicate dance between public perception and private reality, about the weight of expectations that fame imposes on even the strongest hearts. It is about resilience in the face of disappointment, sacrifice made quietly behind closed doors, and the realization that sometimes no amount of love can bridge the gap between need and desire, fear and freedom. Ultimately, their journey reminds us that love is not always enough to sustain forever. And yet, within the heartbreak, there is beauty. In the lessons learned, in the courage to move forward, and in the quiet strength that endures even after the final chapter has closed. Nicole once said, "It's not about perfection, it's about showing up again and again." For almost 2 decades, they did just that. Yet, even the brightest stars cannot defy the complexities of human emotion. Their marriage, in all its glamour and admiration, was never immune to the quiet, creeping weight of expectation, ambition, and personal struggle. They had shown the world what love looked like when polished for red carpets and award shows. But behind the cameras, the effort to maintain that image took its toll in ways no headline could capture. Keith's music became testimony. Each lyric, each strummed chord, a window into his heartbreak, his longing, and his vulnerability. Nicole's silence, in contrast, became a quiet declaration of resilience, of determination to protect not only her own heart, but the hearts of their children. Their story reminds us that love is not just grand gestures and shared smiles. It is compromise, sacrifice, patience, and sometimes painful acceptance. Even when two people show up with all their devotion, love alone cannot fix the fractures of unresolved pain, unmet needs, or the inevitability of human imperfection. Sometimes showing up isn't enough, and sometimes even love as deep as theirs can reach its natural end, leaving behind memories, lessons, and the bittersweet beauty of what was once thought to be unbreakable. What do you think about Nicole and Keith's journey? Could love have survived their contradictions? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the untold stories behind the glitz and glamour of fame.
Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more dives into Hollywood's hidden history.